Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ignorant millennials, depending on when you're watching this channel or watching our video right now. I'm your host, Kat, as you popularly or should really know by now. We're on our second season, and today I'm not alone. I'm joined by two fine gentlemen over here, and as you can see, the one's got tattoos. You can tell that they deal with heavy stuff. I'm joined by the gentleman from Xcede Performance. Gentlemen, please, if you may introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Shan Singh.
Sherwin Singh.
All right, gentlemen. So before we proceed any further, if you can just tell us who you guys are and what it is, which company you come from, and what it is that you guys do.
Well, Xcede Performance is a performance tuning outfit.
Yes.
Sharon and I were the co-founders of
Yes.
Xcede Performance, and
Yes.
we started this possibly around just close on to about 15 years ago, and we've been striving for excellence, and therefore I think we've resulted in a very useful motto that's actually lived with us called exceeding the perception,
Yes.
which is also exceeding the competition.
All right. Okay. So then, how did it come about that you guys came up with the name Xcede, and what's the well, obviously the word exceed means to go beyond.
Yes.
Naturally, was that the thinking?
I think that was the thinking, and we wanted something different.
Yes.
So we thought we'd put our heads together so that we could actually achieve a bit more. So that way,
Okay.
it's something that you want to strive for.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So for those who didn't get that, these are the guys, if you hear a car going pa 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 pa, you want that AMG sound. These are the guys who will hook you up. Today we're gonna discuss that. You wanna find out about pops and bang. You wanna find out about stage one, 2. I don't know if there's a 5. Is it stage 5?
If you want one, we can do one.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna actually find out how are these stages classified and what happens in each of these stages. We're gonna find out pretty much a lot about tuning your car and so forth. So I don't know. Do you guys also do body kits or is it just strictly tuning?
No, we supply aftermarket parts
Okay.
and premium parts from overseas. So
Okay.
we have partnerships all over the world. So we do have some partnerships with body kits and accessories, and that's not our core business, but a lot of
Yes.
our customers come in for tuning,
Yeah.
and they want some aftermarket parts. So we've teamed up with
Yes.
some big name brands,
Yes.
and we bring that in. So we can do that.
Okay. All right. So I wonder, I don't know if it's ground level, but obviously one of the top questions, so I'll start from my knowledge or general knowledge of people is that let's start with what is stage 1. Let's rather start there. What is stage 1 and what happens in stage 1?
Okay, so each tuning shop
Yes.
classifies the stages differently.
Yes.
For example, the American guys, the British guys, the Australian guys. So some people have stage 2 plus, stage 3. But let me take you through what we in South Africa
Yes.
or in Xcede, we
Yes.
classify as the stages.
Yes.
Some companies might actually do it differently.
Yes.
But stage 1 is typically a car with no hardware. So it leaves the factory with all the factory hardware in place. The
Yes.
customer wants a bit more power,
Yes.
and they don't want to put on hardware. Because
Yes.
sometimes hardware, you got to bolt it on, bolt it off.
Yes.
It's a mission, it goes louder.
Yes.
So you just want more software,
Yes.
performance from the software.
Yes.
So that's stage 1. You come in,
Yes.
we remap the car, give you 10 to 20% more power depending on the car,
Yes.
without changing any parts.
Okay.
So that's stage 1.
Okay.
Just remember, without the factory parts are quite restrictive, like specifically the catalytic converters
Yes.
and stuff. So you can't go crazy with stage 1.
Yes.
It's the hardware holds you back. So you won't make as much power as a stage 2, obviously, because you've got cats and exhaust and standard intakes.
Okay.
But that's a lot of customers want to come in, do stage 1, just a software upgrade basically,
It's a software
and
upgrade.
go out the shop.
Okay.
Also remember, some cars come from the factory with performance packs and other versions. So there's horsepower lying on the table
Yes.
with stage 1s. Just the manufacturer sells you a performance pack
Yes.
with 30 more kilowatts with exactly the same hardware.
Oh.
So some customers say, listen, I want that power of the performance pack without changing any hardware. So there is a big market for stage 1.
Okay. So if I'm understanding you correctly, so when I buy a car, say if I buy a Golf, for example, right, or a Polo, so and if I'm understanding you correctly, or the manufacturer in a way has limited the output, like the engine can produce say 100 kilowatts, but they've chosen for safety reasons or whatever, and because the car will be in different conditions and whatever, they've chosen to limit it rather to 80 kilowatts and certain number of torque. Is that actually?
You're exactly right. I think these cars are mass produced for different markets around the world, so the manufacturers are a bit restrictive because they're obviously protecting their assets and their warranties and so on. So,
Yeah, it's got to run in varying
Yes.
conditions.
Yes.
can run in Zimbabwe with 87 octane fuel,
Yes.
to Dubai with 100 and whatever octane they have in their tanks.
Yes.
So the car's got to leave the factory and run in different fuels and not break. It's also going to run in various temperatures.
Yes.
You could be in Toronto, Canada, or Siberia at minus
Yes.
50. You could be once again Dubai or Death Valley, California. Actually,
Yes.
has got the highest temperatures in the world. And cars are running 50, 55 degrees ambience there.
Okay.
So the manufacturer's got a tough job actually. They've
Yes.
got to produce a car and map it to run all over the world
World,
without
yes.
breaking. So they leave a lot of horsepower on the table.
Okay.
It's detuned severely
Yes.
because they're going to pay when it breaks.
Yes.
They don't want it to break.
Yes.
You running in Dubai in 50 degrees and
Yes.
the tune is too aggressive and
Yes.
it detonates. It's not good. They're going to pay to fix it. So they're obviously not going to give you all the horsepower.
Yes.
So the cars are detuned. If we are here and you know your specific conditions,
Yes.
you're not going to be in 50 degrees, you're 93 to 95 octane,
Yes.
you can immediately take a lot of that fat built into the map out
Yes.
and tune for our conditions. There's
Okay.
10, 20, 30% power left on the table
Okay.
because they have to send this car all over the world.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So then, before we proceed to stage 2, so stage 1, let's say, what typical pricing are we looking at in terms of stage 1?
it depends on the car itself, I think.
Yeah.
So if okay,
And it
it could
ranges.
it could be from as low as 2.5
yes,
to, it depends on the car. Each manufacturer is different. The ECU brands are different. The costs associated with tuning the specific ECUs
all right,
are different. But yeah, it could start as low as 2.5 to 3.5.
okay. So then, so say for example, obviously the normal or average citizen, when they start working, they typically buy either a Polo, maybe an A1, A3, and so forth. So what are we for that? Are we looking at something like 3.5 or something
Yeah,
like
it's
that?
around
Yeah,
3.5.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a
And-
starting point for
And
stage
how
one.
long does that take in terms to tune?
Stage 1 is quite simple because you don't have hardware. You don't
Yes.
have to really log that much.
Yes.
It's about 3 to 4 hours.
3
but
to 4 hours.
Typically, you want to leave it for the entire day because
Okay.
it's a process.
Okay. So there's a term that you used, ECU. I think it's electronic computer unit. I could be wrong. So I just want you to also tell us what is ECU, because it's quite technical, and unfortunately many of us are not as technical as you are.
So it's the engine control unit,
Yes.
which is typically like the brain of the car, and that's
Yes.
what the manufacturers use to actually restrict the performance and allow all the codes to pass through in terms of whatever commands it needs to issue and so on.
Oh, okay.
It's the brain, basically, in layman's
Okay.
term. And that's what we chip. It's the program runs on there.
Yeah.
So it's engine control unit. All the sensors are connected.
Yeah.
It reads live while you're driving. It knows the temperatures of everything happening in the engine.
Okay.
And it commands what it wants.
Yes.
So that's the engine control unit, the ECU.
Oh.
That's what we chip.
All
It's
right.
like your typical human brain.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So a remap would be also stage 1 is considered an ECU remap.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I always thought it involved like hardware where you remove. I thought like you're redesigning the engine somewhat.
Now that you say that, good
Yeah.
point, because many years ago that was the case.
Yeah.
Even
Oh.
with your stage 1, you're going to remove the board and there's an EEPROM on the board. In some
Yes.
cases you have to solder. But yes, you're right. That's where
Yes.
the term chipping actually came from.
Oh, okay.
10, 15 years ago,
Yeah.
Yes.
you had to physically chip and remove chips and
Yeah.
plug chips in. And nowadays it's all via the
Nowadays,
port.
just downloading the original map,
Yes.
fine tuning that,
Yes.
and uploading it back into the
So,
ECU.
so stage 1 is the most basic form of tuning any vehicle. So if I bring my car and I say I want to tune my car, I have to go through all stages. You don't start from 0 to stage 3 same day.
But I think also to answer that correctly, we try and find a balance for the customer. So we
Yes.
interact with the customer and
Yes.
understand what is his needs or her needs, and look at their budgets. So based on that, we try and find a nice cohesion between the performance tuning and versus
Yes.
the hardware that needs to be installed, and you
Okay.
find a the balance and harmony so that
Okay.
those two can exist
Okay. So then take
without
me.
compromising the reliability.
Okay, makes sense, makes sense. We'll touch on the reliability and everything else a bit later. I just want us to now proceed to stage 2. So stage 2, what is stage 2? What happens in stage 2?
Okay, so Sean will give his view now. Stage 2, 90% of the time is a downpipe.
All right.
Other people will have other versions or iterations of that, but
Yes.
90% of the time, the catalytic converter in
Yes.
the downpipe is the biggest restriction in the car.
Oh,
The
okay.
intakes and all the other things are
Yes.
minuscule compared to the catalytic converter.
Okay.
So 99% of the time, stage 2 is the customer puts a downpipe
Downpipe.
and a
Yes.
software. So you remap the car
Yes.
for the downpipe.
Yes.
And I don't know if you know what a downpipe is.
I imagine it's a part of an exhaust pipe.
So the downpipe connects the turbo. The downpipe's only found in the turbo car,
Yes.
by the way. It'll
All
call
right.
something else in a normal aspirated car.
Okay.
Connects the turbo to the rest of the exhaust. It goes
Yes.
down into the mid pipe and the rest of the exhaust. So
Yes.
from the turbine housing down, that's why it's called a downpipe. It takes the
Yes.
exhaust gases out of the turbo and into the rest of the exhaust.
Yes.
So that's the most important part and the most restrictive part of the exhaust. If that is restrictive, and most catalytic converters are,
Yes.
then your spool up, your performance,
Yes.
all of that will be impacted. So
Oh,
reducing the restriction in that downpipe
Yeah.
increases performance, economy,
yeah.
all of those factors, and gives you a nice healthy growl as
Yes.
well, you know, in most cases.
Okay.
So the downpipe is very important.
Okay.
And
So
that's 99% of what a stage 2 is
Yes.
a downpipe and software.
okay. So then, like, because I was watching the other day, when you were having you guys here for interview, so I was watching like the difference between a turbocharged car and a supercharged car. So when you mention a downpipe, it actually rings something inside my head that because isn't it that turbo engines, the power output comes from the exhaust or something like that? Am I wrong? If I remember.
The exhaust, the turbo sits in the exhaust, and the
Yes.
exhaust gases spin the turbine
Yes.
wheel, which spins a compressor wheel, which forces air into the engine.
Oh,
So
okay.
100%. It's taking your wasted energy
Yes.
and using it to produce
Recycling
power.
it,
So it's very efficient. That air is going out your exhaust anyway.
Yes.
Rather than it spin something, like a little windmill,
Yes.
connected to a shaft
Yes.
that forces air back in. So it's very efficient. It increases the efficiency of the engine.
Okay.
So yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Well done there.
All right. Thank you.
It is in the
YouTube.
exhaust.
So typically then in terms of the power output one can expect from a stage 2 for like what's the least amount of power, maybe perhaps if we work like that, if I say what's the least amount of power you've produced for a vehicle on a stage 2
What's the least power?
yeah and the
About
most
35.
and the most as also
Yeah, but probably least is 35.
35 kilowatts.
35 kilowatts.
Yes.
Probably we should use percentages because if you've got a 60 kilowatt
Oh
car,
yes,
it won't-
yes, 100%.
But the cars we're talking in the 150, 200 kilowatt range,
Yes.
35, but it's about 20%, I think.
Yeah,
Okay.
20% gain.
All right.
But some cars gain a lot more. Like you find the bi-turbo
Yes.
cars with bigger cubic capacities,
Yes.
like the 335s,
Yes.
the 4-liter V8s, they gain more.
Okay.
Maybe 40, 50, 60%.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
That's a lot.
20% is a lot. Yeah,
That's
you
a
can get
lot.
some cars that gain
It
100
all
kilowatts.
depends on how restricted the manufacturers
Yes.
with these
Okay.
settings and their
And-
outlets.
Okay. I know we didn't touch it on stage 1, but on stage 1, typically percentage-wise, how much can one anticipate?
Minimum is about 10, 15
Okay. All right. Minimum. Wow, that's great actually. Hey.
on the turbocharged cars.
Yes.
On a normal aspirated car, it'll be less.
Yeah.
Little
Normally,
bit
I
less.
think
Yeah.
it'll be 5.
Yeah.
and
Maybe 5.
turbocharged will be
Okay.
10.
Maybe 5. Some normal aspirated cars gain a lot.
Yes.
They tuned, very conservatively from the factory.
Yes.
It also depends where around the country you are.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So then, stage 3. What is stage 3?
Okay, so that's where I mentioned earlier, each person has their own definition.
Yes.
Stage 2, and then some people say stage 2 plus is when you put fueling mods, like a high pressure fuel pump.
Yes.
Some of the British companies will call that a stage 2 plus.
Yes.
But we in South Africa call stage 3 when you change the turbo.
Yes.
But some companies say stage 3 is when you put cooling mods,
Yes.
like intercooler. But let's just stick with South Africa. Most of the tuners in South Africa, stage 3 is a hybrid turbo, or you've changed the turbo.
Okay.
So that's when you do stage 3 tuning.
Okay. So that you changing the turbo seems like it's a whole lot of work. I imagine even the expense and the duration you guys have my car is quite a long time. So how long would my car be in service
If you're
for?
going stage 3, you got to get ready for, time and expense, because it's not a normal change like the downpipe. It's a
Yes.
dramatic change to
Yes.
change the turbo. There's a lot more air flowing into the engine. Often injectors and whole other components have to be changed. So stage 3, you got to get ready for a journey now. You're going on a journey. But it can take, a bolt-on turbo can take 2-3 days. Or it can take 3-4 weeks.
It all depends on the planning.
Yeah. Okay.
It can take a couple of days to 3-4 weeks for stage 3.
As well as your budget.
All right. So as you say that, I also think that, okay, such a change, what effect does it have on my manufacturer warranty, especially if the car is like less than 2 years old and so forth? So what is the effect on that? Will now when I go for service or if something breaks down, they'll be like, nah.
The truth is, most likely,
Yes.
you have the possibility of losing your warranty. That's the truth.
Yes.
You cannot hide that.
Yes.
You cannot mislead the consumer
Yes.
out there. You most likely will lose your warranty, or you can lose it.
Okay.
So the owner of the car decides.
Yes.
Do they want to proceed with the conversion or not?
Yes.
If they do proceed, they have to accept the fact
Yes.
that they may lose their warranty.
Okay.
You know,
Yes.
there's a chance they will keep it intact as well,
Yes.
but that's outside of the tuner's domain. It's up to the owner.
Okay.
There is a probability you can lose it, and people do lose their warranties for modifying it.
Okay.
But yeah, you know, there's new laws coming out in July. I don't know if you've heard of them.
No, I have not heard of them. Please
There's
educate us.
There's some new laws coming out in July which
Yes.
may change the game
Yes.
dramatically, where manufacturers have aftermarket workshops can do servicing and repairs,
Yes.
and the warranty is intact. For example, if you have a BMW
Yes.
and it's brand new,
Yes.
an aftermarket workshop can do your servicing and your repairs.
Okay.
BMW has to give them the instructions and the documents,
Okay.
and they have to be accredited to be a BMW accredited repair center. But those laws are kicking in, I think, June, July.
Oh.
This year.
So the game may change then, but
Okay.
for now, you can lose your warranty.
Might take a few months for people to get more
Okay.
accustomed to it, but yeah.
So I don't know if maybe you'll tell me if that answers my question. So if I say I bought a BMW last year, right, and today I decide, I'm going to tune my car, we're doing stage 1, right? So I don't know if from stage 1 or let's say stage 2, let's rather go with something where that involves a bit of hardware, right, or even a stage 3. When my car still is under a maintenance plan, so forth. So do I still take my car to a BMW to be serviced, or do I also need to come to you guys? Because maybe you guys also need to service, I don't know, a turbo. I don't know what happens in service.
So maybe Sean can give his input, but let me give mine quickly. There's a gray area there.
Yes.
When you do lose your warranty with a BMW specifically,
Yes.
other brands it's different details.
Yes.
You keep your service plan.
Yes.
You lose your warranty on the engine, the
Yes.
motor plan or the maintenance plan,
Yeah.
they call it.
Yes.
But you're servicing for 5 or 6 years, you've paid for that. The
Yes.
car needs to be serviced at
Yes.
15 or 30, the oil or whatever.
Yes.
BMW will honor that.
Yes.
You still can go for servicing and your other components as part of the regular fluid changes and all
Yes.
that. It's just that if something breaks, you need to claim, you lose that portion of the motor plan.
Okay.
So there you'd have to speak to your tuner and maybe get a warranty from them, or a warranty on the components, but
Possibly even an aftermarket warranty.
Okay.
They are third party.
they are third party warranties. So yeah.
So
So the short answer is you
yes.
could possibly lose your manufacturer warranty on claims,
Yes.
but your service plan is there. You can't lose that.
Okay.
It's always going to be there.
all right. Okay. So then, speaking of warranties that are offered, do you guys offer any warranties on your parts? And typically, how long do they spend for?
So we, like Sean mentioned, we team up with a lot of overseas manufacturers with premium aftermarket components, and those components each carry a warranty. It's normally minimum a year,
Yes.
and defects are honored, and they're big names, so they're not,
There's a lot of research and developments that are done for those parts and specifically those manufacturers. So therefore they obviously honor the warranty for those components. Yeah.
and we have relationships with them for years. So,
Okay.
for example, we do pure turbos,
Yes.
valveless turbos, Dodson clutches, armor speed intakes. If there's any problem, we have good relationships with them. They will send a replacement
And, yeah.
immediately. We'll swap it back.
Okay.
And in terms of the software, if there's any defect on the software, in terms of whatever the customer's not happy with,
Yeah.
we will rectify it.
Okay.
So we do have warranties on all of those components
Okay.
in place. Minimum
So a lot
will
of
be a
the,
year.
the software is custom tuned and so on. So I mean,
Yeah.
we do it ourselves. So it's basically up to whatever the customer's needs are.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. So take me through to stage 4. What is stage 4?
I actually don't know what stage for.
There is no stage 4. Okay.
No.
Oh, there is.
Remember I mentioned there's different
Yes.
classifications
Yes.
according to where you are. Stage 4 would be a built motor. So
Yes.
now you've got stage 3, you've got a big turbo.
Yes.
Now your turbo is making so much of power that the engine is now starting to
Yes.
take strain.
Yes.
So stage 4 would be, I want to build a motor. Building
Yes.
the motor means putting stronger
Strong-
components inside.
yes.
Normally what breaks is the rod, the con rod,
Yes.
or the piston.
Yes.
So stage 4 would be you open the engine up. It's a very expensive exercise. It takes a long time. You put
Yes.
in stronger forged components inside the engine.
Yes.
That's what in South Africa would call stage 4.
Okay.
So you've already got the bigger turbo,
Yes.
and you're scared of the engine breaking. So you build the engine. That's stage 4.
Okay. So then, how typically in terms of cost on average, you spending from what price to what price can one
That's
calculate with?
very hard to say.
It
But
depends
it's-
on the vehicle again. It can range anything from probably about maybe 80,000 rand.
Oh
to
my
about
word.
100 between
No,
80 and
But 80
150.
to 350.
Yeah.
If you want to build an engine for
Yeah.
1,000 horsepower,
Yes.
say you want to build a V8
Yes.
bi-turbo
Yes.
for 1,000 horsepower,
Yes.
it's going to be hundreds of thousands.
Okay.
Pistons, the rods,
Yes.
the bearings,
Yes.
the head.
Yes. Okay. So then for the downpipe of stage 2 that we discussed earlier, so we didn't discuss the price range where it starts from and where it can, well,
It can start from as low as 2.5 for a downpipe. And
Okay.
we team up with two very good companies, which is Xflow and Power Pipes.
yes.
Their quality is unrivaled in the industry. So we
Uh-huh.
team up with those two companies, and they
Okay.
do extremely good work.
Wow. I actually used to think it was way more expensive. I thought like a downpipe.
No,
that's the
stage
starting
one,
point.
It all
Yes.
depends on the car.
That's a starting pipe, because like you say, if some other cars, if it's a bi-turbo, it can
Yes.
be more. It can be
Okay.
a lot
Yeah.
more than that. That's just the starting entry for like a 3-cylinder
Yes. Because
small engine.
I once think I just forgot the name of the tuning company. I ran a quote for like, okay, if I was to do like up to stage 2, right, for my vehicle to go off. So they gave me a quote, I think about like 20,000 rand. I was like, okay, never mind. This thing is not for me.
But was that just a downpipe or a full exhaust?
It was just a downpipe. It was not a full exhaust.
No, so downpipe and software will always be less than 10,000 for
Yeah.
the Polo Golf.
So I was getting ripped off pretty much.
I don't know about that.
So speaking of of getting ripped off, there's so many like tuning companies out there. Is there a standard certification I should look for so that this is not like a fly by night? You know, like even with schools like that are out there, you know, we get scammed as people and so forth. People claim to have a certain knowledge or do a certain things, but they're not accredited. Is there an accreditation you guys need to have and whatever? How do I ensure that I don't get scammed? Like this is just not somebody like, it's just out there.
Well, we currently actually going through a process at the moment, an auditing process for an ISO 9001 for
Yes.
quality management system.
Yes.
So that's one of the certifications that we are trying to obtain right now.
Okay.
Just to gear ourselves up for the new regulations that are coming out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in the industry, there's not really a proper certification for
Yes.
tuning. You just have to look at the track record of the company. Like we've been
Yes.
around 15 years.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
and Sean and I have both been on training for Bosch
Yes.
calibration.
Yes.
Most of the issues are Bosch, so we're both Bosch calibration specialists. We've
Yes.
been on training overseas for that.
Yes.
But there's no official certification for that.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, just look at the track record of the company. Look at how long they're in business. You know,
Yeah.
speak to the customers. You'll find out. You
Yeah.
know, in this day and age, social media, everything's
Yeah.
online.
Yeah.
So there'll be good stories and bad stories, and you'll make up your own mind. But in essence, experience
Yes.
is what you're looking for,
Okay.
because experience tells you where's the limit.
Yeah.
And you don't want somebody to gain experience on your car,
Yes.
break something, and then
Yes.
now they've gained the experience of where the
Okay.
limit is. We've done this 15 years. We know the
Yes.
limits on all the brands, what percentage to push each parameter on each engine. So we've learned that. This comes with learning over the years. There's no way to, even if you get a certification,
Yes.
you can still mess up. It's just experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
In this country, in this city,
Yes.
on our fuel,
Yes.
this is the limit. Because somebody could come from Europe
Yes.
and be experienced, and they could break something because
Yes.
their fuel is better than ours,
Yes.
for example, and their conditions are better than ours.
Okay.
There's conditions in this country with our fuel and our heat and our calibrations we're doing on the engines. It's
Okay.
just that in 15 years is a long time.
No, definitely
We've learned,
it is.
we've
It
cut
is.
our teeth,
Yes.
we've learned,
Yes.
we've made some mistakes over the
Yes.
years, we've
Okay.
learned every time, we've made notes of it,
Yes.
and we've improved and improved
Okay.
and gotten to the stage where
Okay. So, gentlemen, how do I make my car go brrr or the pa 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 sound? What is that? That popping and banging
Popping and banging.
sound. What is it?
Never heard of it.
You never heard of it? I would ask my neighbor to start the car because his car actually does that.
So nowadays, you see the AMGs,
Yes.
the RS models, the BMW M models, and
Yes.
a lot of other cars have it from the factory.
Yes.
Yeah.
The M4 GTS, you
Yes.
see the C63s, when you tap off the throttle,
Yes.
they have like a cool burble.
Yes.
Like, it sounds awesome. It's like
Yes.
a racing car
Yes.
coming to the paddock, into the pits.
Yes.
So they do that now, and it's purely for sound. It has no
Yeah.
performance.
Okay.
It's just
There's no
unburned
performance
gases you send when you tap off.
Yes.
Normally the injector's closed, but
Yes.
they spray a little bit of fuel. It
Yeah.
goes through the engine unburnt. It hits the hot exhaust manifold.
Yes.
Creates little explosions that
Okay.
make your pa sound.
So it's
Skid it up a pa.
okay. So it's not a hardware change; it's a software
No.
change that I would be
Software
making.
change. You do need to remove the cats because it'll get damaged
Yes.
with those explosions. So you need stage 2 at least.
Okay.
You can do it at stage 1,
Yes.
but you're going to damage your
Damage the
cats,
Okay.
and you're going to need to replace your cats.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's fully software.
Okay.
It's not something hardware. It's in the software. You calibrate it to
Yes.
create those explosions and the overrun. They call it the overrun when you tap off.
Oh. Okay.
So it sounds cool. It can be extreme
Yes.
and it can be mild. There's various degrees of it.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. So
If
is
it's
it?
done wrong, by the way,
Yeah.
it can be dangerous and damage the turbo
Yes.
and other components. If it's those
Manipulating
hard
some
banks.
fuel settings as well. So,
All right.
Yeah.
So that means more fuel or
Yes.
more fuel consumption.
It's the fuel that creates those
Yeah.
explosions. It's unburned fuel.
Yeah.
So yes, the consumption will go
go
up,
up.
unfortunately.
So is this something that if I come in, I'm like, guys, I want to just like go ham in terms of tuning. Is it something that you guys would advocate for doing, like having the air pops and bangs? Also, like I just want like my car to really sound like a supercar or whatever and so forth.
Well, I think as I mentioned earlier on, it's all up to what you actually want out of
Yes.
it.
Yes.
I think we can be quite accommodating within the reasonable limits of
Yes.
reliability and so on. So
Okay.
it's all about what you want and does the budget cater for it. That's it.
Okay.
And also the age group, the younger guys,
Yes.
they love it.
Yes.
The older guys, they have it for a day or two, then they want it off.
Oh, okay.
Also, the neighbors sometimes don't like
Yes.
it.
Yes.
Yes.
If you live in a complex,
Yes.
and every time you tap off,
Yes.
there's gunshots, and then security companies are saying gunshots in
Yes.
your area.
Yes. It happens a lot, quite actually.
It's
Yeah.
not
There's
like-
complaints.
So yeah, but hey,
Yes.
people want it, we give it to them. It's,
Okay.
It's up to us. They love it.
All right.
The manufacturers are doing it, so it's cool.
Yes. All right. All right. So then, like, I know we didn't touch on it earlier. Is there an impact in terms of when I tune my car? Do I have to notify my insurer, my vehicle insurer? Is there any impact?
What do you think? I would say you should,
Yes.
because you don't want trouble when there's a claim.
Yes.
Some of our customers have done it, and they've
Yes.
come back to me with the feedback.
Yes.
And the premiums changed by 47 or 50 rand, less than 50.
Yes. Okay.
They load the premium slightly.
All right. Okay.
But you rather pay that excess than have a problem.
Yes.
But I don't know.
It also depends on how excessive you're going with your modifications and so
Okay.
on. I think with the standard stage 1, I don't think it's necessary on
Okay.
the stage 1.
Undetectable, they
It's
would
undetectable.
never know. So,
Okay.
but I mean, if you want to disclose it, it's up to you. It's your
Okay.
choice, your car.
Yeah.
I would say to be safe, just do it. It's,
Okay. All right.
it's not the end of the world.
All right. So tell me then, what is like the car that you had the most fun in terms of tuning, and the one also can be the same car in terms of the craziest output that you've gotten after tuning it, or in whichever stage it was.
Jeez, there's been so many.
Yeah, that's good questions. At the moment,
Yeah.
the hot car at the moment is the Toyota Supra.
Okay.
So at the moment, there's huge outputs getting with that,
Yes.
especially with the ethanol blends.
Yes.
We didn't get into that, but anyway.
You can.
And all around the world,
Yes.
it's not just in South Africa, it's become a cult car very quickly.
Yes.
And the Supra is on everyone's mouth at the moment, everyone's
Yes.
talking about it. So we're having a lot of fun with that.
Yes.
And they're gaining a lot.
Yes.
And they seem to be quite quick and
Yes.
breaking records very quickly all over the world. So
Okay.
we have fun tuning the Supras. They also
Okay.
look awesome. They create a lot of presence and a lot of attention.
Uh-huh.
And the shape of it. You know.
Yes.
It's a cool car to deal with, and the aerodynamics is also good. So it's it's good in most areas.
Do people come and tune their supercars? Like, does somebody say, "Yeah, my Lamborghini"? Like,
Yes, they do.
We've done lots of years. Sean's got lots of
Is
experience.
it? Wow. So people are thirsty even when you have a Lamborghini and everything.
Interesting story. We had one customer with a Lamborghini LP560. We
Yes.
ran an event in the, I don't know if it was Kimberley or somewhere in the northern or southern Cape. It was a top end run
Yes.
on a road which was closed off.
Uh-huh.
Supercars only. And he came second. And his speed was 317 or something. And the car that came first beat him by 3 or 4 Ks. And he came to us for tuning.
Yeah.
Because the event was again 6 months
Yes.
later.
Yes.
And the car that beat him was,
Yes.
I can't remember. Anyway, he said, I need more
Yes.
top speed.
Yes.
And that specific car, it's normal aspirated. Remember
Yes.
we mentioned normal aspirated doesn't gain that much.
Yes.
But that car was limited by the RPM in top gear. The rev limiter
Yes.
in top gear was,
Yes.
I think, 7,600 or something.
Sure.
But the car still had more horsepower to go. It would just run into the
Yeah.
limiter at 317. So he said, if you raise my rev limiter 300-400 revs, I would gain more top speed.
Yes.
So we raised his rev limiter from 7.6 to I think 8,000 or 8.1.
Yes.
He went back to the event, he came first, he ran 330 something, 331 I think, and he came first at the event because we removed
Yeah.
or raised the rev limiter.
Yeah.
So the car had enough horsepower,
Yes.
but the gearing was such that it ran into
Yes.
the rev limiter in 6th gear.
Okay.
So if he's raising the rev limiter to 8.1, he got
Yes.
another 15-20 kilometers and he came first. So yes, we do get a lot of supercars,
That's crazy.
Lamborghinis,
That's crazy.
Porsches.
Yes.
Sean has done a few Porsche GT2s,
Yes.
GT2 RSs.
Yes. Okay.
Couple of
Ferraris
GT3s,
as well. We've done a few
Yeah.
cars, 4
Ferraris,
Ferrari
Some
directly.
Lamborghinis.
Yeah.
4 Ferrari directly, we've done a few cars.
Yeah.
And Maseratis as well, directly
Okay.
for Ferrari.
So I've been like to a couple of drag races and everything else. So in the drag races that I've been, it's crazy that like your what you call it, your Golf 7Rs and like you'll find like the TTRS, I don't know, it's like they just incredibly faster than like you find somebody's there with a C63 AMG, like, and it's also tuned. Both cars are tuned, right? And both would be like on a stage 2, but it's just crazy, like those cars. What is it about those cars that's just
Very good question. The answer is straight. 4-wheel drive traction and the dual clutch launch control.
okay?
The TTRS and the Golf 7R have both of that. And
Okay.
they're incredibly quick on the quarter mile. The 63 you meant is a rear-wheel drive car.
Yes.
It will struggle to get off the line. And when the crowd is watching a quarter mile race, they would
Yes.
generally see about 200 meters of the race.
Yes.
Yes.
The 7R would be gone
Yes.
in front.
Yes.
I'm not saying the 63 would catch it.
Yeah.
It may not.
Yes.
But it wouldn't really have a chance
Yes.
in a drag race
Yes.
on the street
Yes.
for the first 200 meters.
Especially if you lost a lot of time in the,
Yes.
the initial
It may
launch.
catch up, and generally it would because it's got a lot of horsepower
Okay.
and a cubic capacity.
Okay.
But they would be out-launched 9 times out
Times
of 10.
out of
Those
10.
cars are launch
Yes.
control. You
Yes.
press the buttons, you get into launch mode.
Yes.
Lights go green,
Yes.
it's gone.
Okay.
The 63 has to catch up.
Wow. That's
So those cars
incredible.
rule the street at the moment. The TTRS, the Golf
Yes.
7Rs. If you tune them,
Yes.
they have the traction. Traction is
It's very
is
important.
key these
yeah.
days.
Okay. All right. So then to wrap it up, gentlemen, I don't know if there's anything else that you have on your side, because what I wanted to find out was also where can people get a hold of Xcede Performance, and yeah, and so forth.
So Xcede, like I said, I don't know if we've mentioned this, we're all over the country. We've got shops in Johannesburg, Cape Town. We've got a store we open in Cape Town in November.
Yes.
Ashley's our guy down there.
Yes.
He runs that store.
Yes.
It's doing incredibly well. Cape Town has a unique culture,
Yes.
but they're all petrolheads down there. They love their speed. They
Yes.
love their drifting.
Yes.
So the shop in Cape Town is there. It's on our website.
Yes.
Also, we have newly opened branch in
Yes.
Newcastle.
Yes.
We also have Durban, obviously, Port
Yes.
Elizabeth,
Yes.
and Nelspruit.
Okay.
GPM tuning in Nelspruit. But Instagram's probably the best site, or
Yes.
sales at Xcede, xcede.co.za.
Yes.
You can call, but nobody really calls these days. They're all
Yes.
Instagram
Yeah.
or
Or
email.
yeah.
Or Instagram's probably the best. So
Okay.
Xcede Performance on Instagram.
Okay.
And also in Johannesburg, we're going to be opening our own dedicated store in Glenroe Park
Yes.
on the 1st of March. So we'll have a
Okay.
dyno and all of that. So we'll be up and
Wow.
running there. So
Okay. On the 1st of March, that's pretty
Yeah.
soon.
we'll be teaming up with Power
Yes.
Pipes there.
Okay.
So they, like, we've mentioned them earlier.
Yes.
They've incredible quality
Yes.
workmanship on their downpipes
Yes.
and exhaust. So our shop in Glenroe Park will be teaming up with Power Pipes. And
Okay. All right. That's incredible.
Instagram's the best thing.
Yes.
Or email, but Instagram, the DMs,
Yes.
slide into the
Website,
DMs there.
Okay. Interesting.
And the website, obviously,
Yeah.
xcedeperformance.co.za or www.xcede.co.za. Xcede.
All right. Now we'll definitely have them in the video written down somewhere. And yeah, hopefully after March, after you guys open, I can be able to bring my car or around March, April. If things permit.
Banks, make your neighbors happy.
Oh, believe you me, if I have pops and bangs, because I'm a petty person, I would literally wake up at 3. You said I don't sleep earlier off camera. At 3 o'clock, I'll just start the engine and rev it. So, if my neighbors are watching this, you know what's coming. All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us and Ignorant Millennials. There we have it. We had the guys from Xcede Performance, and we trust and hope that you guys have all the knowledge now in terms of deciding where to tune your car. And I can tell you pretty much 15 years history, these are surely the best guys to go to in South Africa at the moment. And yeah, we hope that you enjoy and have a pleasurable experience with them. We out.